Oh my goodness.
Well, actually, the first time I saw her was walking by the Bedford Street Bank, and that was sometime early November 2008. But the first time I actually met her in person or see her up close was in KFC on the 4th of November 2008. KFC was always my backup, so I decided to go down there and get a quick bite until I get home later. So I guess that was God telling me something to go to KFC today, or else I probably never met her.
So my first interaction with Leroy was November 4th. It was actually a Tuesday at around 2:20. It was like shortly after 2 p.m. It was my lunchtime, and KFC is not my go-to because I really don't consume fast food like that. But I went to KFC and I was in line, and the line was moving relatively slow. I stood in line. I was getting impatient. I was hungry, and I was working out of town. So I needed to get back to work. And this man, first time seeing him in person, I didn't even know him before, so it was the first time seeing him. And he said, "Hi, how are you?" And I looked back and I said, "Hi, I'm fine." And he tried to have a whole conversation with me, and I wasn't having it because I don't know who he is. And I was hungry. And then he also was a bit impatient in the line, and he was like, "Oh my God, this guy is obnoxious." So just ready to get out of there. But he was memorable because his voice, he has this memorable voice. So even though I wasn't interested, I remembered his voice. So I got my KFC and I left, and that was that. So this guy found out where I was working. Where I was working was no secret. I worked prior as a journalist. At that time, I was a news reporter. So Leroy actually started calling my work every morning at 8 o'clock to speak to me. And I would tell my colleagues that he would just call, and the first couple of times I answered, and it's like, and then even my colleagues start realizing it was a pattern. They're like, "Your friend called, your friend is on the line, your friend. And yeah, we just go from there. We just started talking from there. I think it's the fact that I've lived abroad for the past almost a decade. And during COVID, it was the longest period we went without seeing each other. It was more than 9 months, and it was the hardest. We tried to see each other at least every quarter. So every 3 months, it's either I come home or he would visit wherever I am. But in 2020, a lot was happening. It was mentally draining for me. We were doing construction in St. Vincent. Leroy was doing that on his own. I couldn't travel. It was a lot at work. It was just a lot mentally and physically. And I think that was really traumatic for me, that COVID period, particularly in 2020. That was really heavy on me, mentally and emotionally.
I think she's on point with that. Not being able to see one another physically for that length of time was hard. You have to come home every night from work straight to bed, no one to talk to, and then the stress with the contractors and the workmen of not giving you what you want on a daily basis, and have to report to every night what went wrong, what didn't go right, and I think that period was a very challenging period.
Yeah. Drastically. Like, my goals, my dreams definitely changed when I knew in my heart that Leroy was my person. Yes, we were dating for a few years. We went out, had a great time. But as we spent more time together and we did life together. So there was COVID, there was days when I was not well, there were times when I was changing jobs. There were just a lot of things. And as I go through those individual experiences and went through them with Leroy, I knew he was my person. He was always like, he was my strength when as cliche as this may sound, like the days when I didn't even believe in Jamisha, Leroy believed in me. So I knew from a long time that he was my person. And I started to backpedal a bit and stop thinking about this is what I want to do and what I want to achieve by this date, and started to consider a lot more of the things that he wanted to do. So I knew that he wanted to extend his family, and maybe the time that he wanted to do it, it wasn't the time that I wanted to do it. So things around that we had to kind of work through. How we want to spend our retirement years. I was very hard and fast on how I want to do it and the things I want to do after 40. And I really adjusted that mindset, having considered what Leroy also wants to do. So that is definitely a we thing now and no longer a Jamisha thing. I knew from a very young age that I want to do these things at 32, at 40, at 50. But now it's really a collective, this is what we're going to do.
I learned early from some elders that happy wife leads happy life, and happy wife means compromising a lot. You know, giving up most of the things you like and want to do to transition to what she likes and what she wants to do.
That sounds a little selfish to me, like you're giving up yourself for me.
No,
I mean,
not,
and what we want to do.
really. No, it's not really. We men on the whole we will, you know what I mean, give up. We will settle sometimes just to make our wives or lady happy, because
Right.
they don't really take much from us. Ladies carry the feelings on the shoulder, so they ask for much more than what we ask for.
And you're willing to compromise.
I'm willing, because what I'm giving up versus what I'm gaining is chalk and cheese. So I'm willing to go down that road to make my wife happy. Well, the most exciting time and memory for me was my 50th birthday. I came home thinking that I was just going to a regular dinner. From the time I entered the door was petals from the front door straight to the bathroom. Showered, dressed, came outside to leave the house, only to find a chef, a bartender, 2 hostesses, a violinist, and the works.
Yeah.
And that night was very memorable. It was like a movie. I see these things on TV, I never know I would have experienced it in my own home. She caught me off guard, and that will always be at the top of my list for memories between us.
I also think his 50th is definitely one of my best memories. I always look back at it and laugh because the planning was so, like I started planning his 50th like 6 months in advance. And I pulled it off. It's not easy to get Leroy to not know things, and the fact that I was able to surprise him was amazing. There were people in this house who were in the tub, and I had to have the music like really loud, try to put all the candles so he wouldn't smell anything. I was cooking outside, so it was just like a whole production, and I'm there with him, but my mind was like, what's happening outside? Are they on time? Are we still on schedule? But it was amazing. So that is one. And of course, I must say as well, his birthday that just passed on the 1st of February. That's the day when we got engaged. Like, it was so selfless. And I still laugh about it because I was like, wow, he was able to pull this off on me. The person that I think, like, I always know everything. And I thought we were just going to Sandals to have dinner for his birthday, and then it became a whole thing about me. So I think that it's definitely his birthdays. This one that just passed and his 50th, those are definitely amazing memories in my mind.
I think I'm the one that told her that I love you first, because that's the main reason why I pursued her from the day I saw her. And we used to talk. I used to give her a ride, and there was one day she gave in to me and say, well, yes, I'm ready to begin this new life with you.
I literally told him that.
She literally told me that. And from the moment she told me that, I dropped all my nasty bad ways, however you want to put it, and focus on her right through. And there are lots of force nothing in between that she did that showed me that, yes, this is the one for me. But marriage wasn't on the mind yet at early stage. But I know it would eventually happen, because there's no reason not to marry your person or the one who you want to spend the rest of your life with. You have to make it right in the sight of the Lord. So I always knew that I wanted to marry her, but when was the question. I think she moving away and COVID, all that delayed it. But I think we together now, we have a say now that everything happened for a reason and the right time. So
Correct.
we no longer disappointed in when something didn't happen today or tomorrow or the right time, because we know whenever it happened, that is the right time.
Yeah.
When the Lord wants it to happen for us. So
Yeah.
I think she has a number that she uses for everything from, and it so happened that that number came into play when I made the big move.
Yep. Identical. My favorite number is exactly the period we're gonna get married. And I've been using that number since he met me.
And I did not plan it, it just happened.
Yeah.
It's after that happened, I said to her, Jay, you realize this thing is what you know?
Yeah. That's what Isaiah 60:22 says. When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. And I think, I know strongly, and we both believe in it now, that this year is definitely our Jubilee year. There's so many things that we didn't plan, but they're happening. And they have so many significant meanings. Did I think that I would have been married before? Possibly, because it's literally 17 years that we've been together. So if 17 years ago you told me that Leo and I would be together 17 years and not married, I would tell you, hell no, I'll never do that. I'm not that type of girl. He has to put a ring on it and he's whatever. But I never pushed it. I never thought about it. I knew that I wanted to be married to him. Maybe after the first, I would say it's 2013. I would say after the first 5 years, I knew that I definitely wanted to spend the rest of my life with him. And I didn't even think it would be an entire 5 years, because I don't rush anything. I always allow myself to be patient and, give myself time. So even in the first 5 years, it was amazing and I knew I loved him. After the first 5 years, I definitely knew that I did not want to spend eternity without him. So yeah. And 12 years after we're getting married, I'll be the only right rose.